Villa Park tonight. We are underway. Manuel Lanzini rolls the ball back from the centre spot to Angelo Ogbonna. No playing out of the back straight away from West Ham United. He lumps it downfield. Yarmolenko in pursuit. Neil Taylor gets the ball clear, and the first free kick is given inside the first minute. The foul by Issa Diop on Wesley. That should be an intriguing physical battle. Two absolute units there. Issa Diop and Wesley.
Yeah, it'll be some head-to-head there. Diop getting really tight on Wesley there, but Wesley looks like he can handle himself.
Jack Grealish will take the free kick, 5 yards or so inside the West Ham half towards the left-hand side for Aston Villa. Number 10 on his back, socks rolled down, very muscular calves, Jack Grealish. Legs like oak trees. A diagonal ball towards the corner of the penalty area is headed clear. Tyrone Mings had gone up for that free kick, and it's calmly played out by Masuaku. And now Manuel Lanzini takes on a couple of Aston Villa players. Was he fouled? No, says Mike Dean. Villa have the ball back in the centre circle. Jack Grealish peers towards the left-hand side, runs into the West Ham half of play, and here they come on the edge of the penalty area. There's a chance here perhaps for El Ghazi, who is restored to the starting lineup, and West Ham are struggling at the moment to get the ball away, but then Declan Rice with his bright yellow boots brings it away down the right-hand side, sends a ball into the Villa half, easily dealt with by Engels. He finds Mings and then Taylor, and on this left touchline Jack Grealish cutting inside of Mark Noble. 5 Live Sport, Villa Park. We're in the second minute and it's Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0. Villa have a free kick, a foul by Noble on Grealish.
Yeah, nice pace to the game. Jack Grealish early on driving inside, Villa dictating at the moment, early days.
Would you like to see him further forward like Lee Hendrick?
Well, I like McGinn further forward. I do. He's such a powerhouse.
McGinn is on the edge of the penalty area at the moment for Aston Villa, certainly further forward than Jack Grealish as it stands, who's in that midfield position alongside Marvelous Nakamba, the Zimbabwe international, who's preferred tonight to Douglas Luiz, the Brazilian, who drops to the bench. And the ball is back with Fabianski. It's an excellent challenge by Wesley. It's a goal kick, but Wesley chased down the West Ham United goalkeeper to the left side of the penalty area, got the challenge in, but Fabianski can now take it from the floor. And interestingly, bearing in mind what happened over the weekend, there isn't a centre-back in sight of the 6-yard box. He's going to send this one long.
But that wasn't fabulous from Fabianski. Took a touch when he should have just clipped the ball up the line first time.
The closest player to Lucas Fabianski at the moment, or closest teammates, is Issa Diop, and he's 5 yards inside the West Ham half. And he sends the ball towards the right-hand side. Beautiful first-time control by the blue-booted Andrei Yarmolenko, who ruptured his Achilles tendon at Everton last season. He's now started 3 in a row. Mark Noble with a slightly wild pass towards Felipe Anderson, out on that left-hand side for West Ham United, and the ball sails out of play for a goal kick, for a throw-in, 5 yards short of the halfway line, just underneath the Doug Ellis stand, where the floodlights are shining brightly from the roof to illuminate the action here. Grealish between the lines almost picks up that ball from John McGinn, not quite, half clear by West Ham United. Villa have it on their left-hand side, and here's Neil Taylor surging forward. Poor first touch, and Declan Rice eases the ball nicely into the path of Sebastian Haller. And here come West Ham United down the left-hand side. Felipe Anderson cuts inside onto his right foot. Haller back to goal, 20 yards outside the penalty area. He rolls it back to Mark Noble, the veteran captain, playing his 352nd Premier League game, extending his club record. Anderson finds Lanzini. He clips it over the top, looking for Ryan Fredericks, who cuts inside of El Ghazi. The ball into the penalty area, and it's the shot, the left-footed shot by Yarmolenko, that cannons off Engels and goes behind in front of the Holt end for a corner kick.
That's a really good spell of possession from West Ham. Make a number of passes, are switched out to the right-hand side and crossed in. Haller lays the ball back to Yarmolenko. That's an opportunity. See, 12 yards out, and it's a good block from Engels. Behind for the corner.
Lanzini to take right-footed on the West Ham right. It's headed clear at the near post by El Ghazi, only as far as Fredericks, who finds his opposite fullback Masuaku. Down the line it goes to Haller, 22 on his back. the Frenchman, cuts back onto his right foot, then his left, twisting and turning. There's the cross into the penalty area. Wesley back defending the corner, gets the header clear. El Ghazi just about smuggles it towards Jack Grealish and then gets the return ball, running towards his manager Dean Smith, just short of the halfway line. Drops it back to Neil Taylor, calmly done by Aston Villa, and that elicits a round of applause from the home fans. Villa in possession. Here's Engels, rolls it to Tyrone Mings, who's been absolutely superb since arriving. Initially on loan from Bournemouth, he got his first call-up to Gareth Southgate's England squad. Didn't see any action, but I remember watching him on the opening day at Tottenham, where Villa held the lead for over an hour, and he was absolutely magnificent. Offside on that far side against Gilbert.
You know, alongside Harry Maguire, I don't think Michael Keane has necessarily covered himself in glory, but to get that opportunity, he has to perform. Tyrone Mings really well, consistently in a Villa shirt.
Last season in the Championship, when he was on loan, with Mings in the starting 11, they conceded 0.7 goals a game. Without him, 1.6 goals per game. So virtually an extra goal per game into the Aston Villa net. And he's really developing as a leader as well. Fabianski takes a free kick after the offside decision. It's flicked on nicely by Allaire, and the chance and the shot from Mark Noble, who got there just in front of Tyrone Mings, was straight at Tom Heaton. But another decent opportunity for West Ham United, and another good flick on by the tall centre-forward Sebastian Allaire. But here come Aston Villa, inside left channel, McGinn down the line. We'll wait and see if Wesley's in an offside position. The flag stays down, and it's Fredericks with the challenge, and it's an Aston Villa throw 3 yards from the corner flag on their left-hand side.
Yeah, it's important that Wesley makes those runs into the channel and behind the West Ham back line. West Ham will play a high line.
Here's Neil Taylor, rolls it back to Jack Grealish, inside to marvellous Nakamba. He featured in the EFL victory at Crewe, summer signing from Bruges for 13 million.
A big call, that. Douglas Luiz starting the season okay.
7th minute of Villa Park on 5 Live. McGinn, he's adjudged to have fouled the West Ham United defender. He'll go into the penalty area and flash a shot into the top corner. But Mike Dean had already blown the whistle for the foul on Ogbonna, and it's a free kick to West Ham on the edge of their own penalty area.
Well, there is a little clip. It's accidental from McGinn on Ogbonna, and I think the tell is McGinn isn't protesting. He knows that that was a foul.
Well, he commits the foul there. He's the most fouled player in the Premier League, John McGinn. What a bargain he was from Hibernian last summer, just over £2 million. Remarkable that bargains like that still exist in the transfer market. Felipe Anderson away down the left-hand side. It was a sliding challenge, a risky one by Ryan Fredericks. He did enough, and Tom Heaton in all yellow, the Aston Villa goalkeeper, gathers the low cross. He rolls it out to Engels, who turned 25 years old yesterday, the Belgian. Started all 4 Premier League games before tonight. £9 million he cost from Stade Reims. Nicely built up by Aston Villa down the left-hand side. It's a ball with the outside of the boot by Jack Grealish, looking for Wesley. Calmly dealt with by Issa Diop. He drops it back to his goalkeeper, Fabianski, whose clearance doesn't gain much distance. It went high into the Birmingham sky, the jet black Birmingham sky. And the upshot is a throw-in to West Ham United on their right-hand side, 10 yards inside their own half, to be taken by Ryan Fredericks.
Actually passed the ball out well there, Aston Villa, from the back, but it turned into a foot race. Wesley against Diop, and we're going to be one winner.
Speaking of Gareth Southgate, formerly of Aston Villa, of course, he's here tonight. Just seen a shot of him on our TV monitors. Away to our right, I suspect, in the director's box here at Villa Park. Aston Villa with a free kick. Tyrone Mings wanted to take it quickly and does so to Engels. And here's Nakamba, just shy of the centre circle, turns upfield. Neat and tidy looking player, marvellous Nakamba. El Ghazi on the left-hand side will put his head down and have a little run here. He's evaded Yarmolenko's challenge. He cuts inside of Diop, and he's fouled right on the corner of the penalty area. Mike Dean on the spot in his blue referee's jersey. He puts the spray down where the offence occurred, and it's a free kick in a dangerous area here for Aston Villa.
Yeah, only one thought in his mind. El Ghazi driving down the left wing, cuts inside. Diop squared up, nowhere to go. It's a good opportunity for Villa. Grealish over the ball, Jota.
We haven't seen or heard much of him so far. The signing from Birmingham City. 23 on his back, Jota. He could take this left-footed. Jack Grealish in his yellow boots is just gesticulating towards one of his teammates. He's going to take it right-footed to the near post. Just needs a flick, and it almost got it. In the end, it's Fabianski who gathers cleanly. El Ghazi, it was inches away from his forehead.
Well, what a delivery that was from Jack Grealish. Whipped in right-footed. He wasn't far away. Heaton happy to gather any sort of touch, and that would have been trouble.
West Ham looking to build down the left-hand side, but the ball is out of play, and there's a roar that goes around Villa Park as their fans encouraged by what they're seeing. A foul on Jack Grealish by Mark Noble, and Grealish is gesticulating towards referee Mike Dean as if to say, look, he's held me back, he's stopped my progress, that should be a yellow card. Mike Dean disagrees, although he is deep in conversation with the West Ham captain, and perhaps that's a final warning. 11th minute, Villa Park, 5 Live Sport. It is Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0 as we round off the 5th week of Premier League action after the resumption following the first international break of this season, and Villa Park is in excellent voice. Yarmolenko with the flick in field, but only as far as Nakamba. He leaves it and then gathers it back from Fredericks, who plays it between the lines into the West Ham half, right-hand side to Jota, whose lank black hair is dropping towards his shoulders. He wins his side a throw-in 15 yards inside the West Ham half of play. Ryan Fredericks, who's making that position his own. He started the last 8 Premier League games now for West Ham United. Throw-in taken. Wesley unable to bring the ball under control. Out of play on the far side on West Ham's left. And it's a throw-in. I wonder why Felipe Anderson's gone off the boil a little bit, Chris. He's such a terrific, creative player. 1 goal in his last 20 Premier League appearances doesn't necessarily reflect his talent, does it?
No, but we know there is a talent in there. You look across that West Ham forward line. Anderson off one side, Yarmolenko, who's trying to get his fitness levels back. A couple of games for the Ukraine where he was brought off after the hour. He's a player as well, isn't he? I think in the week, Pellegrini talking about the technical players at West Ham have that ability to change games.
Given away by Aston Villa 2, Yarmolenko. Here's Lanzini looking for the feet of Allaire. Good strength shown by Engels, the Villa centre-back, to prod the ball clear. Here's Jack Grealish, full of intent. Little lollipop as he approached Declan Rice. Plays it to the right-hand side and Jota. And Grealish has continued his run. The cross comes in. Wesley! Just inside the 6-yard box. The header's over the crossbar. He scored against Everton, but that was electrifying work by Jack Grealish, and the closest we've come to a goal so far.
Oh, it's wasteful from Wesley. It really is brilliant from Grealish. Little give and go with Jota down the right-hand side. He whips the ball in, and Wesley sees it all the way. I think he's really tentative on the header. He gets it horribly wrong, and from 4 yards heads it over the bar. Do you know, I just don't think he's brave enough there. Wonder whether he thought he was going to get hit by Fabianski.
Fabianski was diving behind him, wasn't he? He's got to score there, Chris, hasn't he? Well, in that situation,
not going to get many better chances than that, and he's wasteful there.
Yeah, a little flick in field goes straight to the feet of Declan Rice on the halfway line. Felipe Anderson gets the return from Haller. Anderson again just running across the penalty area, rolls it to Yarmolenko. Now Noble. Declan Rice with a poor first touch, but manages just to wriggle clear and prod a ball out to Masuaku on the left-hand side. Masuaku gets it back from Rice again. Now it's back with Mark Noble. More applause from the home fans as their side defend well. A good shape from Aston Villa. Dean Smith in his dark blue suit, very shiny brown shoes in the technical area, both hands in pockets. Is Lanzini swings the ball out to the right-hand side to Ryan Fredericks, whose last game for Fulham was against Aston Villa in the playoff final. Yarmolenko's going to have a go with his left foot, but he drags it wide from the right-hand side of the goal, fully 25 yards out.
Yeah, you don't want to give him too many sighters, though. Got a wonderful left foot, Yarmolenko. You see him wanting to come inside and use it, whether it's picking a pass or getting a shot off.
Manuel Pellegrini in the away dugout, 66 years of age he turned today, the second oldest manager in the Premier League behind Roy Hodgson. West Ham 9th place, they could go 3rd with a win. It's their best start to a season for 7 years. 2 wins against Watford and Norwich, a draw at Brighton. They were thumped 5-0 at home on the opening day against Manchester City. If they do win tonight, it'll be their best start to a season for 12 years. Given away by Engels, straight to Felipe Anderson, who's then fouled by Gilbert, and it's a free kick just inside the Villa half, taken quickly on the left-hand side by Lanzini, who gets it back and rolls it infield to Declan Rice. Then back to Lanzini. Here's Masuaku joining the attack, but Aston Villa not pressing particularly high, happy to sit back, soak up this West Ham United pressure and wait for the mistakes and perhaps catch them on the counter-attack. Diop right on the halfway line. Noble facing his own goal, back to Diop. The press is on now from Grealish and Hotter. The ball played out to the right-hand side. It's lofted towards Yarmolenko and out of play. Well, it's, according to the assistant, who was right on the spot, it's come off Neil Taylor last, and it's a West Ham throw halfway inside the Villa half on the right.
He's not happy about that, Dean Smith.
Well, he's probably just about calmed down from the denouement at Selhurst Park, where Jack Grealish was penalised by Kevin Friend for simulation as he was setting up Henry Lansbury for a stoppage time equaliser. VAR couldn't get involved because Kevin Friend had blown the whistle. Dean Smith says we've got to get over it. Women's Super League coverage. It's half-time between Manchester United's women and Arsenal's women. Joe Curry.
Goalless at the break, an evenly matched first half that didn't get going to the 13-minute mark. Arsenal's Vivian Miedema forced a great double save from Mary Earps, who palmed away her initial header and then saved her rebounding shot at the other end. United midfielder Ella Toone will be kicking herself after sending her header in front of goal wide of the post when she really should have done better. At the break then, it's Manchester United 0, Arsenal 0.
Thank you, Joe. A free kick here as Manuel Lanzini has been dumped onto the ground by a rather reckless challenge by John McGinn. No further action taken by Mike Dean. Lanzini back on his feet. He started all 5 games now in the Premier League. Of course, he suffered that ACL injury in training with Argentina before last summer's World Cup. Great from a West Ham perspective to see him back.
Yeah, a long way out, 40 odd yards left-hand side of the box.
2-man wall. Yarmolenko looks like he's going to prod this to Lanzini and then maybe chip it to the back post. That's exactly what happens. Declan Rice was free. I think there was a little bit of pushing and pulling by Declan Rice, or perhaps even Allaire behind him. The upshot is a free kick in the penalty area.
I love watching Mike Dean. He's the greatest, isn't he? The greatest showman of all, Mike Dean.
Brought up the century of red cards, didn't he, towards the end of last season?
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it, I think.
Fredericks has to get there, doesn't. Here's Wesley. He prods it into the penalty area to McGinn. McGinn is defended brilliantly by Ogbonna. There were huge cries for a penalty kick, but that's just solid defending by Angelo Ogbonna. Then it's a long ball forward towards Allaire, and Tyrone Mings able to roll the ball back to Tom Heaton, his goalkeeper.
Well, that was outstanding from Ogbonna, because it was a real opportunity. Wesley slid the ball into McGinn. He's sort of 8 yards out, and he uses his body so well, McGinn does. Ogbonna reads which way he's going. McGinn trying to shift it onto his favoured left foot. He snuffs out the danger.
Manuel Pellegrini out to the edge of his technical area for the first time, hands in pockets, and his navy blue suit, grey hair resting on his shoulders. Here's Grealish. That's good defending by Yarmolenko, but Grealish picks it up on the left-hand side for Aston Villa. He invites Marvellous and Nakamba forward. That takes a little clip off Mike Dean, and it's gone out for a throw-in. Now, shouldn't we be seeing a drop ball here under the new regulations, Chris?
Mike Dean is picking the ball up, yep.
So Mike Dean will drop the ball to the feet of Marvellous Nakamba, because his intervention led to Aston Villa losing possession in the form of a throw-in to West Ham United.
He's always involved.
It's one of the few new laws I do like. Engels, halfway line, rolls it out to Hotter on the right-hand side. Closed down by Felipe Anderson and Arthur Masuaku. Anderson got the toe in, 10 yards away from the corner flag on Villa's right. They have a throw-in. Frederic Gilbert to take it. He just wipes the moisture off the ball with his shirt. Takes a long run up lobs it into the corner of the 6-yard box. Wesley gets his head to it, but it just goes up into the night sky. McGinn challenging for the ball, gets there just ahead of Masuaku, drops a shoulder into Masuaku and does very well, John McGinn, physically there. On the corner of the penalty area, he finds Hotter. He's dispossessed, though, by Lanzini, who brings the ball clear for West Ham United. 20th minute here at Villa Park. Arlo White and Chris Sutton with you. 5 Live Sport on this Monday night. Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0. Wesley has come the closest so far with a header from 4 yards over the bar. Lanzini down the left-hand side to Felipe Anderson. Running here at Gilbert. The cross comes in towards Haller with a header. Wasn't far wide. Tom Heaton's right-hand post. Tried to send it back from whence it came, and he wasn't far away.
Very, very slick from West Ham. It's Noble into Yarmolenko, who chests the ball beautifully into Lanzini's path, who's in his own half. He releases Felipe Anderson down the left-hand side, who crosses the ball in right-footed. And Haller just a yard or two past the Villa near post.
I think Tom Heaton probably had it covered. It was a decent effort nonetheless. Haller was the only West Ham United player in the penalty area. He was found nicely by Anderson. Here come West Ham again, looking more threatening by the second. Lanzini rolls it back out to Anderson, approaching the corner of the penalty area, left-hand side. Lanzini, edge of the penalty area, back to goal. Very direct pass across the penalty area to Yarmolenko, who stands it up into the penalty area. It's over everybody except Tom Heaton, who sprints to the edge of his penalty area. He wanted to get Aston Villa underway with a counter-attack quickly. There was nobody available. He holds on to the ball, and he's still got it. And now rolls it underarm to Engels.
And a couple of really incisive passes from Lanzini in the last minute or so. Villa cannot let him dictate the game.
Bjorn Engels for Aston Villa up towards the halfway line. Gilbert, heavy challenge by Masuaku. I think there's an advantage being played here by Mike Dean. Yes, there is. And it's Hotter on the corner of the penalty area on his left foot, blocked by Declan Rice. He tried to get a left-footed shot away. Gilbert is still down on the ground after that challenge by Masuaku. And it's to the other end we go now with Felipe Anderson, who I think voluntarily gave up possession to Aston Villa there. or is he trying to make a dodgy piece of control look like that, Chris? What do you think?
Well, if you're going to voluntarily give up possession, you normally don't run 60 yards.
Mike Dean is going to brandish the yellow card here. Gilbert is still down, so Arthur Masuaku gets the first yellow of the evening for that challenge on Frederick Gilbert.
Yeah, now he does have competition for his place with Aaron Cresswell. I think defensively he struggles a little bit, Masuaku, and that was a reckless challenge. Goes to ground. He's put a little bit of pressure on himself.
There was a combination there, Chris, wasn't there? Because he's caught Gilbert on the ankle area, but also body checked him at the same time. So no wonder Gilbert was in a crumpled heap on the ground. John Terry has come to the sideline just to give Neil Taylor some words of advice and encouragement. The former Chelsea man, of course. Dean Smith has got his right foot on the pitch as he chats to Neil Taylor, who's taking a drink. Manuel Pellegrini has retaken his seat on the West Ham United bench. Gilbert is still down. No, he's now dragged slowly to his feet. Pellegrini, a Premier League champion with Manchester City in 2013-14, his first season in charge at the Etihad. He also won 2 League Cups. He was known as this charming man. In the subsequent seasons, they finished 2nd and then 4th. And he was a bit of a lame duck in his final season because the secret got out that Pep Guardiola was on his way. I remember his lap of honour after the final game was only witnessed by about 5,000 people in the Etihad. It was a bit of a shame that it ended that way for him. But Manchester City, he went off to China for a while, and back in the Premier League now and enjoying life. Given away by Declan Rice to Hotter. The ball breaks here to Jack Grealish. Here's Nakamba.
Did he go off to China to win trophies?
Like Marko Arnautovic? I think he was there one season and finished 4th. Grealish rolls it out to Gilbert, who looks to be okay after that challenge from Masuaku, and he tries to wriggle around Felipe Anderson. Some dogged defensive work there by the former Lazio man, and it comes off the fullback, the French fullback last, and it's a West Ham throw on their left-hand side, about 15 yards inside their own half. In the 25th minute here, at Villa Park. Wesley, the closest we've come to a goal so far, a header from 4 yards out over the crossbar. Perhaps should have done better to double his Aston Villa tally. Here is Wesley in possession, does well, shows great strength, rolls it back to Nakamba. Nakamba gives it away poorly to Yarmolenko. He was looking for Jack Grealish. It was only a 5-yard pass, but it went straight to the Ukrainian. And now Felipe Anderson is going to have a little run here at Gilbert. The Aston Villa right back. He turns back and finds Lanzini. The Argentine in turn this time ignores Declan Rice. Plays it square to Mark Noble. In turn out to Ryan Fredericks on the right-hand side. Back inside to the number 16 with the captain's armband on, Mark Noble. The tall figure of Yarmolenko being chased across the field by Neil Taylor. Declan Rice in his yellow boots calmly plays it to Masuaku on a yellow card. Lanzini, nice build-up play by West Ham United. Felipe Anderson, corner of the penalty area on the left to Lanzini. Here's Declan Rice, thought about the shot, does take the shot. It was a challenge that was put in by Jack Grealish. I think he's got a piece of that as well, Grealish, and the ball spins away for a corner kick on West Ham's right-hand side.
Yep, Grealish just does enough. Half a chance that for Declan Rice, who's 22, 25 yards out. Tried to get a shot off, but Grealish, to his credit, gets the block. They're working the ball well, though, West Ham United.
Change of corner taker. Lanzini took the last one from the right-hand side. Now it's Felipe Anderson who runs across. Places the ball carefully down in the quadrant. 5-pace run-up. Mark Noble offers his services on the side of the penalty area short. Masuaku on the edge of the penalty area. It does go to Noble. There's a good angle here for a first-time cross. He takes a touch, though, and rolls it back to Anderson. Then the cross goes towards the back post. Allaire tried to bring the ball under control. Masuaku has a wild swing with his left boot, and that's arcing into the lower tier of the Holt end. Nowhere near from Arthur Masuaku.
Mind the windows, Masuaku. That was horrible, wasn't it? It's a poor corner, actually. Noble had the opportunity to whip the ball in. Eventually it's worked out to the left-hand side of the box. Less said about that, the better.
An even contest, Chris, I think it's fair to say at the moment.
Yeah, but you think the best chance of the game to Aston Villa. Wesley, I think he should have been braver. Need to be clinical at this level.
Well, he was against Everton in that 2-0 victory. They're only 3-pointers so far this season. They had the lead for over an hour. Felipe Anderson is fouled, and that's going to be a yellow card. Brandished by Mike Dean to Jack Grealish. So Grealish will have to be careful, the Aston Villa captain.
And I think Mike Dean is saying it was the same as Masuaku's. I'm not so sure it was, but what Grealish does do, a little nutmeg from Anderson on him initially. He takes revenge on Anderson, who gets away from him. He goes to ground. You go to ground, you always run the risk of a yellow card.
Jack Grealish with that Peaky Blinders-esque haircut. Could easily be a Shelby. And he's given away the free kick, taken short by Lanzini, who gets it back. It's a poor cross, though, cleared by Nakamba at the near post. His clearance only finds Masuaku, who switched his allegiance internationally from France to the Democratic Republic of Congo last year. Here's Felipe Anderson down the right-hand side, slides it inside towards Mark Noble. A sliding challenge comes in from Jack Grealish. And now then, is it Mark Noble who's been penalised here? And it's a yellow card for Mark Noble. I must confess, Chris, I'm a little confused.
He's on a roll, Mike Dean, isn't he? Mark Noble sees the funny side of it. But no, as that's his third yellow card of the game. Maybe going for the record tonight, Dino.
So Mark Noble's in the book. Arthur Masuaku has got a yellow card, and Jack Grealish has got a yellow card. Did he tug him back there, Grealish? Mark Noble, as he went into his own penalty area.
I've been a little tug, but I don't think that really warranted a yellow card.
Long ball forward by Tyrone Mings. The flag stays down against McGinn. He has Wesley up with him. He looks for El Ghazi into the penalty area, and the challenge is a good one, and it had to be by Issa Diop, but he gives away the corner for Aston Villa. Taken quickly by El Ghazi, short to Jack Grealish. Lovely bit of skill. He's fouled by Diop, and it's going to be a free kick to Aston Villa on their left-hand side. They're halfway towards the byline in the
penalty area. For another card there, didn't you?
Well, I thought he'd gone to his pocket, but it was just for the magic spray.
He's so good at that, Grealish, isn't he? Listen to the noise around here now. That little drop of the shoulder, languid drop of the shoulder from Jack Grealish, wins the free kick.
3 Aston Villa substitutes, including Conor Hourihane, all warming up in their orange bibs in front of us on the touchline. In our seats in the Trinity Road stand, Jack Grealish has placed the ball carefully down. Hotter is there as well. You remember Grealish wanted El Ghazi to run across to the front post on a previous free kick from a similar area. This is about 10 yards from the byline. It's back flicked by Hotter to Grealish towards the penalty area, and into the penalty area he goes, twisting and turning again, rolls it back to Nakamba, edge of the area. He squares it. Here's Gilbert, who chips it into the area. That's disappointing. It's headed clear on the edge of the penalty area by Masuaku. I thought initially when he took control of the ball, the fullback, he was going to let fly, decided against it. Here come Aston Villa down the left now. Wesley, good defending by Fredericks, who keeps the ball in play. No, it's not. It's gone out.
I just don't understand you. If you're Tyrone Mings and Bjorn Engels, you go forward for that free kick. You're furious the ball's not put in.
Neil Taylor with the ball above his head, level with the edge of the West Ham United penalty area. Half an hour gone at Villa Park. Here on 5 Live Sport, Villa 0, West Ham 0. Here's Jack Grealish again, slides it into the penalty area to El Ghazi, who's just run out of room. It's a goal kick. He was running diagonally towards the 6-yard box, and in the end he was ushered out of play, and it's a goal kick to Lucas Fabianski and West Ham.
One lovely, deft pass from Grealish to release El Ghazi. Could he have just tried to poke it in first time from near the byline?
Anwar El Ghazi, who started the opening 2 games, he scored against Everton. Back in the starting lineup today. Trezeguet is suspended. El Ghazi, of course, scored in the playoff final against Derby in May that secured Aston Villa's promotion. As you were making the point before the game, Chris, as well, Villa were going nowhere really around February time, were they? Well short of the top 6, and then that magnificent 10-match winning run got them into the mix through the playoffs via a semi-final against West Brom, and then in the end a fairly routine victory over Derby County at Wembley. Here comes John McGinn, flicks it with the outside of his right boot. Actually it's Gilbert who gets it back. Square ball on the left-hand side of the penalty area to Grealish. Here is McGinn. He'll have a go, will he, with his right foot? No, he turns back to the left. Finds Grealish again. He'll stand it up towards the back post. The heads go up. There's a flag up on the far side. It was Gilbert who got the header in. It bounced comfortably into the arms of Lucas Fabianski. We will play on. The goal wouldn't have counted. The flag was raised on the far side. Mark Noble for West Ham. The game just becoming a little more stretched in the last few minutes. Brian Fredericks now galloping towards that Aston Villa penalty area. He found the feet of Yarmolenko. He made a mess of it. Nakamba brings it clear. A roar from the Holt end, who are encouraged by this Villa performance. El Ghazi down the left-hand side. That's drawn Ogbonna out from his position at centre-back. Infield he goes to John McGinn, put under some pressure by Lanzini. He strikes it left-footed. A ferocious strike, but unfortunately for him and Aston Villa, straight at Lucas Fabianski, who gathers at the second attempt.
Well, he gets the ball 40 yards out. Really good first touch, McGinn, on his favoured left foot. And I'm thinking, you're mad, you can't shoot from there. But what a strike that was. And Fabianski, I think, grateful. It was straight at him.
Do you remember that goal he scored against Sheffield Wednesday last year?
Goal of the season.
Was it the Holt end? Magnificent volley, wasn't it, into the top corner. The views of that from behind the goal were sensational. A new 5-year contract announced for John McGinn just before the start of the season. That kept a huge relief, I think, to Dean Smith and to Aston Villa fans, with the vultures circling, perhaps. There was talk of Sir Alex Ferguson trying to encourage Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to maybe make a bid for Manchester United during the summer. It didn't materialise. McGinn.
Well, how much would he be worth now?
More than 50, probably. On today's prices, here's Felipe Anderson. Nicely worked to Noble. Now Masuaku into the Aston Villa half on the left-hand side. Well, hunted down by Frederic Gilbert, who's having a good first half. The Aston Villa right back. Ball back in play. Felipe Anderson, left touchline. Looks to swing a raking 50-yard ball towards Yarmolenko. It's beautifully weighted. Neil Taylor thought about it, but it arced over his head. Noble with the cross towards the near post. A left leg stretched out by Tyrone Mings to concede the corner. His heart may have been in his mouth momentarily.
El Ghazi threw his head there at Tyrone Mings. Confrontation, and he certainly gestures a head movement towards his own player.
Well, was Tyrone Mings having a go at El Ghazi, having conceded the corner? El Ghazi doesn't look happy at all. Wesley's got his arm across his chest.
I think he motions to headbutt, and Mike Dean is having a look at this.
Well, VAR are taking a look at it, aren't they? The Premier League Match Centre are involved. Martin Atkinson is the VAR official today. Here. And if you do something against your own player, it still counts as violent conduct, doesn't it? You could still be in trouble here, Anwar El Ghazi. Mike Dean coming across for a chat with El Ghazi and Tyrone Mings and telling them to calm down. You're wearing the same shirt. Dean Smith has a bit of a grimace on his face as he looks towards his two players who are arguing amongst themselves. Meanwhile, Felipe Anderson with the corner to the near post. Lanzini tried to flick that on unsuccessfully. Neil Taylor challenging with Felipe Anderson, who takes control of the ball, which is out of play, and it's a goal kick to Aston Villa. Well, Mings and El Ghazi, keep our eyes on that one. Let's take another look. We're going to see a replay here, Chris.
Yeah, well, Mings is screaming at him, and he puts his head on El Ghazi's head, and then El Ghazi just motions, tensions running high.
They did the rutting stag routine, didn't they? Forehead to forehead, and then El Ghazi really leant in against Tyrone Mings, who was giving him a bit of an earful, perhaps for not tracking back. It was that long ball, wasn't it, by Anderson to Yarmolenko that put Neil Taylor under pressure.
Neil Taylor should have done better. That ball's travelled 60 yards.
The ball is back with Lucas Fabianski, who was hunted down by John McGinn, sliding challenge, but Fabianski got the ball clear into the Aston Villa half on the West Ham right. And they have a throw-in, West Ham on the halfway line.
And Anderson and Yarmolenko have just switched sides. Anderson started on the left-hand side for West Ham, Yarmolenko the right.
Tyrone Mings, who never quite got going because of injury at Bournemouth, having signed from Ipswich. Injuries certainly held him back. He was their record signing at one point. Sebastian Haller finds Felipe Anderson on this right-hand side. Haller turns away from Nakamba, rolls it back with his left foot to Mark Noble. Square ball to Declan Rice. Forward it goes into the feet of Manuel Lanzini. A drop of the shoulder gets him away from McGinn. On the left wing now is Masuaku into the penalty area. There's the cross in. Felipe Anderson with the header. It'll fall to the feet of Haller, and then it's Mark Noble. He goes to ground. No penalty, says Mike Dean. I think he stumbled there.
Well,
yeah.
So you'd like to see that again. I think Mark Noble, he should be booked here. You can hear what the Villa fans think of it. It should be either or.
He's already on a yellow card as well, Chris.
If it's not a penalty and he's dived, he should go.
West Ham in possession on their left-hand side on the corner of the penalty area. Masuaku was trying to play it into the feet of Haller in the penalty area. It bounces awkwardly off him, but West Ham, through Declan Rice, have it back. He finds Ogbonna. Here's Issa Diop. 38 minutes gone. 5 Live Sport at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0. A feisty affair. And that's just between two Aston Villa teammates. Here's Lanzini. Peers upfield. He has McGinn ahead of him. And well, Lanzini, the game seems to happen at his own pace. Very skillful, technical player. Speaking of which, here's Felipe Anderson, another one. His cross goes in towards Haller. Bjorn Engels with an excellent leap. That's very good centre-back play. He left Haller in a heap on the floor in the penalty area. Jack Grealish brings the ball clear, rolls it to Gilbert, and there's possibilities for Aston Villa on the counter-attack here. Hotter on the right-hand side. Wesley making a diagonal run similar to the goal he scored against Everton. The ball goes in towards El Ghazi, who is flattened by Lucas Fabianski, who got a punch to it initially. And I think Mike Dean is going to blow the whistle here so that El Ghazi, who's clutching the left-hand side of his face, can get some attention under the head injury protocol. But that was a very, very physical challenge by the goalkeeper. They were howling for a penalty behind the goal.
But I think it's a challenge that Fabianski, he has to go for. It's a really good ball Hotter driving in from that right-hand side, chops in on his left foot about 30 yards out. El Ghazi makes the run. Fabianski gets the ball with his right fist. He's flying in the air and he just catches El Ghazi on the follow-through.
Yeah, bravery from El Ghazi that perhaps we didn't see from Wesley a little bit earlier on, but El Ghazi's now feeling the effects of it. He's still down on the ground, being seen to by the Aston Villa physiotherapists. If you take a look at a previous chance on our monitors here, and it's the Mark Noble incident a few minutes ago. What do you make of this on second viewing, Chris?
I think he's on the way down. I think he should receive the second yellow for that. His quick feet. He goes, he's trying to deceive the referee and win a penalty. That's what he's trying to do. He has dived. He's better than that.
And it was El Ghazi, who's involved in everything at the moment, who provided the challenge on Mark Noble but didn't touch him at all. And El Ghazi now is just trotting towards the sideline. He appears to be okay to continue, so will he have passed the concussion protocols? I'm sure he has. And then Ghazi, with 21 in white numbers on his back, trots back onto the field after that heavy clash with Lucas Fabianski. Good goalkeeping in the end.
Yeah. Fabianski, fist coming in handy.
Inside the final 5 minutes of the first half, Declan Rice does well. He received the ball facing his own goal, just clipped it under pressure to Issa Diop. Diop then smacked the ball against Declan Rice's back, and Diop got it back, and then Mark Noble gives away possession untidily to Jack Grealish, who tries the give and go with El Ghazi. It's just a scrappy period of play here. West Ham have a throw 10 yards inside their own half on the right hand side to be taken by Ryan Fredericks. He's got the light blue boots on tonight. Manuel Pellegrini's first signing as West Ham United manager last summer. The chest in field by Allaire, only as far as Marvellous Nakamba, who's gone for the white bicycle shorts underneath his white Aston Villa shorts. Here's Lanzini, a bit of skill to get away from McGinn. Square ball inside the centre circle to Noble. He sprays it delightfully out to the left-hand side to Felipe Anderson. Aston Villa are backing away into their own penalty area here. Arthur Masuaku back to Felipe Anderson on the corner of the penalty area. He goes square to Mark Noble. Now it's with Declan Rice. He's got Ryan Fredericks making a run down the right-hand side. Chips it into his right foot. Fredericks rolls it back to Declan Rice. Rice now to Noble. It's very patient from West Ham United. They're not making a lot of progress though, and in the end it breaks to Neil Taylor in his own penalty area. He rolled it back to his goalkeeper Tom Heaton, who thumped it clear, and then Wesley, who was kind of standing his ground, didn't challenge for that ball in the air. Diop went over the back of him, and Mike Dean says it's a free kick to West Ham United.
I think Mike Dean is right in this situation. Ball's up in the air. Wesley has a little look at Diop and backs into him.
Couple of minutes remaining in this first half, and it's an absorbing contest, as yet goalless. Here's Ogbonna on the halfway line, finds his left back Masuaku, in turn to Felipe Anderson, who's back on that left flank. His ball down the line towards Lanzini is cut out by McGinn, who skillfully finds Nakamba on the edge of his penalty area. He looks a calming influence. Marvellous Nakamba, the Zimbabwean, making his Premier League debut tonight for Aston Villa, the summer signing. Nice play by Hotter, twisting and turning, lovely skill, retains possession. The Villa fans enjoyed that from the former Birmingham City man. Grealish gives the ball away, does he, to Yarmolenko? No, Tyrone Mings came flying in with the challenge on the halfway line, and the ball's all the way out on the right-hand side for Aston Villa for a throw-in level with their penalty area, and he's got a wry little smile on his face, Tyrone Mings. I think he enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think Yarmolenko was thinking, shall I go in for that challenge? I thought he was very wise.
You know what, Tyrone? You can have that. Ball headed into the air by Gilbert, who is then, I think, fouled by Allaire. Yes, he is. 5 yards inside the West Ham half on the right-hand side. The free kick taken quickly. And here is Tyrone Mings. He's got white sweatbands on both wrists. Neil Taylor with his bright yellow boots on. The Welshman turns back away from Yarmolenko, rolls it back into his own half to Mings. He'll try a rakish long diagonal ball into the penalty area to the right-hand side, and Hotter, who brings it down beautifully. It was a lovely ball. Jack Grealish is making a terrific run on the right-hand side. Wesley with the header, what a save, Fabianski. What a chance, it wouldn't have counted. The flag was up on the far side.
Well, once again, a terrific ball in. Lovely crossfield ball. to Hotter on the right-hand side. And as the ball's crossed in, oh, I tell you, it's a close one. Wesley doesn't score anyway. He's 6 yards out. He should have buried it. Fabianski getting down to his left-hand side and making the save. Extremely tight, that call.
Free kick taken by Fabianski round about the penalty spot, and the flag now up on the near side here, offside against West Ham United. Sebastian Haller. Free kick taken by Nakamba to Jack Grealish, who's just faded out of the game slightly in the last 10 or 15 minutes, but he finds El Ghazi, the cutback, the shot, and what a save by the right hand of Fabianski. It was a left-footed effort that was arrowing towards the corner by John McGinn, who's got his hands on his head. That was super football again by Aston Villa, who seem to be getting closer and closer.
Yes, they do. It's McGinn, 18 yards out, centre of the goal. Ball comes all the way through to him and he hammers the ball left-footed. Actually takes a deflection, which makes the save from Fabianski. Outstanding to his right-hand side. Sees it late and gets a big hand to that again.
No goalkeeper has made more saves since the start of last season in the Premier League than Lucas Fabianski. His right wrist was strong when it needed to be. I'm just waiting for the board to see how much time is added on at the end of this first half. It's 2 minutes, we're into that now. There was an offside against Aston Villa after that chance. The header back by Gilbert just about reaches Tom Heaton with Felipe Anderson in pursuit, and now Gilbert takes the roll out, finds Hotter just short of the halfway line. Masuaku with a good challenge. The ball breaks to Sebastian Haller, and now it's Felipe Anderson left side of the penalty area. He's got Haller behind him. Tries to tee himself up on his right foot, then Lanzini across the penalty area, surrounded by claret and blue shirts, back to goal. He goes back to Declan Rice, left-footed pass out to the left-hand side to Felipe Anderson again. West Ham are running out of time at the end of this first half. They've got plenty forward in attack here. They're going for patience over more directness. Here's Yarmolenko with the flick. He didn't need to do that. He's given the ball away to Neil Taylor, but West Ham get it back again. They've perhaps got time for one more attack before the half-time whistle. Masuaku cuts in off that left flank, finds the feet of Manuel Lanzini, gets the 1-2 with Haller. Excellent challenge on the edge of his own penalty area, block tackle by Gilbert, and then it's Grealish who's caught in possession by Declan Rice, who commits the foul. Does he? No, it's half-time. Well, plenty to talk about. Chris, what did you make of that first 45 minutes at 0-0?
Well, I think Wesley missed the best chance of the first half. Really should have put Villa ahead early on. Brilliant ball in from Grealish. It's been a competitive game. No goals so far. West Ham haven't really threatened the Aston Villa goal. And Villa, I think, will count themselves unfortunate not to be in front.
There you go, Mark. Stay tuned. It's bright, it's competitive, but at the moment it's goalless at half-time. Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0.
Heck of a save from Fabianski right at the end, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean he must have seen it so late. I think the deflection, made it so difficult and such an important save. And he's been good in the first half for West Ham. But Villa should be in front. Wesley should have buried that. I tell you the contentious talking point. If Noble, I don't think he deserved the first yellow card, but he has dived. He has tried to win a penalty and deceive the referee. He has to go for that. The law has to change. If you're diving like that, you should certainly receive a card. It would have been a second yellow. West Ham should be down to 10 men.
Lee Hendry, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the consistency's not there. That's what we see time and time again, don't we? Is that, if they're saying that players are diving, it's deemed a yellow card. It should be a yellow card. I think when I looked at it originally, I thought exactly the same as you. I think he's been quite clever the way he's gone down. I think he's realised that he isn't going to get the penalty because he hasn't had no form of contact, and he's jumped up and maybe he's kind of kidded the ref. But again, do we go through that VAR and say that it's a dive? So it's deemed a yellow, so he should really and truly be off the field of play.
Surely the more contentious decision in the whole of that half was El Ghazi putting his head into his own teammate in Tyrone Mings, and Mike Dean actually turning down an opportunity to be centre of attention by sending off El Ghazi for putting his head into his own man. That's the contentious decision because...
So you're saying that Mark Nobles wasn't a contentious
No,
decision?
no, but I'm saying if El Ghazi had put his head into a West Ham player like he did into Tyrone Mings, I think he might have been looking at a red card, Lee.
And I think to the letter of the law, he should have gone off. You can't go around gesturing to headbutt a player on the opposition or your own team. So he should have gone. Why wasn't he sent off?
I don't know. Actually, if you were in the Villa change room at half-time, do you think he might be brought off at half-time?
Well, I seen the reaction from Dean Smith and John Terry, and they didn't look happy at all. And you can see, listen, if you can't take criticism on a football field, I like that. I like the fact that, Tyrone Mings has pulled him up on why aren't you defending. I think initially he was frustrated because Taylor should have dealt with the crossfield ball anyway initially, but to go up to your teammate and have that clash, it wouldn't surprise me if he does get the drag, but that's down to the manager to make that decision. But they certainly look furious at the way he approached Tyrone. I mean, I'm thinking, could it be a little bit of a boxing match?
Yeah.
To be honest, I've had a few scraps when I've approached a few of my players. I tell you, when we've had a bad day.
We've all felt like hitting colleagues, haven't we?
Have any of your teammates ever wanted to headbutt you, Chris?
I wasn't talking about football colleagues.
Oh, right. And Alistair Bruce Ball isn't here to defend himself, Chris.
I wasn't talking about him. El Ghazi lost his head. I mean, Lee's quite right. Mings was clearly unhappy about him not tracking back or doing his job defensively. You can't respond like that, and it's a moment like that which could change the game, because Villa have had the momentum, they have had the better of the first half, so players need to stay disciplined.
Goalless at half-time then at Villa Park. Aston Villa against West Ham. Second half on the way. Lee Hendry in the studio with me. Chris Sutton and Arlo White, your team at Villa Park. Goalless in the Women's Super League as well. Midway through the second half, nearly there, between Manchester United and Arsenal. 9 minutes to 9 o'clock. This is BBC Radio 5 Live. Lisa has the latest news.
On digital, BBC Sounds, smart speaker and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live. The Prime Minister of Luxembourg's attacked Boris Johnson's approach to Brexit, describing his situation as a nightmare. At a news conference, which the British Prime Minister didn't attend because of protesters, Xavier Bettel said the UK hadn't put forward any serious new proposals. A co-founder of Extinction Rebellion has been charged with attempting to cause disruption at Heathrow Airport using a drone. 53-year-old Roger Hallam was arrested on Saturday. Two former paratroopers have won a racial discrimination case against the Ministry of Defence. An employment tribunal ruled that Nkululeko Zulu and Hani Gu were the targets of racist graffiti at their Colchester barracks in January last year. And scientists in the US believe they've moved a step closer to finding a cure for the common cold. They've used gene editing to turn off a protein inside human cells which the virus needs to replicate.
BBC Sounds.
Download the free BBC Sounds app and discover the best of 5 Live podcasts, including Rugby Union Weekly.
He's always testing guys and seeing how they react to situations.
They are as good as anyone, how they're going to fare in knockout games when the heat is on.
And 5 Live's Football Daily.
He's a huge talent. If he keeps working as hard as he does every day, 1-2 years, he's one of the best midfielders in the world.
Download the free BBC Sounds app for music, radio and podcasts.
5 Live Sports on a Monday night. I'm Mark Chapman. Goalless at Villa Park between Aston Villa and West Ham, and we'll be back for the second half shortly. The Rugby Union World Cup gets underway later this week in Japan. Every game will be available to you either here on 5 Live or on Sports Extra. The BBC's chief sports writer Tom Fordyce has been talking to some of the England team out in Japan and asking them how they're fitting in with the local culture.
Well, from the autumnal UK to the humidity of the far south of Japan, we are in Miyazaki. It's a city of about 400,000 people right down on the island of Kyushu. It's where England are going to base themselves for the first 10 days or so of their time in Japan. It's really, really warm here. The skies are grey, remind you of Manchester. The temperatures remind you more of Marrakesh. We are in a convention centre. It's slightly strange because in peak season Japan, this would be rammed. There is a hotel next door with 750 rooms, but because it's no longer peak season, it's also autumn here, it's a little bit ghostly. It's slightly empty. There are a few Japanese businessmen wandering around having meetings. There are a few Japanese school kids staring at these Englishmen in their midst. So let's have a chat with them. Let's start off with head coach Eddie Jones. Eddie, how are you?
No, really well. Look, we deliberately have had a light training week because of the effects of travel and different conditions, allowing the players just to adjust mentally and physically. And there's a couple of things in the World Cup. You want to play your best, and obviously you want to win. But you also want to look back at the World Cup and have an enjoyable experience, because it's a once in a lifetime. And I want these boys to not only embrace the tournament and be at their best, but also embrace the culture of Japan, find out about Japan, learn a bit more about themselves in a different situation.
Have you been testing them on their language skills? I hear Johnny May's doing a good job so far.
Well, that's debatable. But no, I don't test them. But I think they've been out and about. And a few of them are relatively forthcoming, a few are a bit shy.
What do you look for mentally from your players? Are you keeping an eye on them even here in the hotel to see who is ready, to see who might be dropping off a little?
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, observing the players is important. Who is going to cope with a different environment, and who is not going to cope, because you see in the World Cup players either really grow or they shrink, and at the moment we're seeing all of our players growing.
And how are you feeling personally at this stage? You must love World Cups.
Well, World Cup is what you definitely at this stage why you're in the game. For me, it's the ultimate. Best players in the world playing against each other. The best coaches coaching against each other. Everyone's looking at the World Cup. It is the ultimate test.
Do you get nervous at all?
I'm always nervous, mate. I wake up every morning thinking what bad things can happen to the team. So, when I stop having that feeling, it's probably the time to give away the game.
Well, listen, Eddie, it's nice to speak to you. Enjoy the next couple of weeks, and good luck.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Let's bring in your captain, shall we? Owen Farrell, come and have a seat next to me here. How are you finding Japan?
Yeah, loving it so far. I think everybody's thrown themselves into everything that they could have since being in Miyazaki, especially. We've been to schools, we've had traditional tea ceremonies, lads have been trying to speak as much Japanese as they can around the hotel. We've had some good mental recovery, really, so now we're excited about getting going.
Have you learnt any Japanese before coming over?
I have. We've had a few lessons, but I'm not going to speak it now to
You're
you.
not ready for its first public outing quite yet?
I'm not that confident yet, no.
Which of your teammates is doing best with the Japanese speaking?
Johnny May's going pretty well. He's pretty obsessive with things, so he's on it. So I kind of pick stuff up off the back of him, just going around repeating himself.
Thank you, Owen. Well, let's have a chat with Johnny May, shall we? Come on in, Johnny. The man who everyone is describing as the linguistic leader of this England team. Johnny May, konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. It's ohayou gozaimasu in the morning, and konbanwa in the evening, and konnichiwa in lunchtime.
So this sounds very impressive. My problem would be, if you learn a little bit of a language sometimes, you're fine for opening sentences and opening conversations. It's what comes back that can be the issue.
Yeah, but it's just really nice, I think, to show a bit of buy-in and a bit of respect almost to the Japanese people. They're literally over the moon, which is endearing when you make the effort to try and say something. So as long as I can just make a bit of an effort, I think that's a nice thing to do.
Has this been some cramming in the last few weeks, or did you have some Japanese in your locker? Was there some talk of a martial arts past?
Well, it's obviously been sewn into me at a young age, but I learnt to count to 10 at jiu-jitsu lessons when I was very young, and it's just one of those things you don't forget, and it just came to me in one of those lessons.
Right, give me a quick blast, 1 to 10.
Ich, ni, san, shi, go, rock, hitch, hatch, kuju.
Very good.
So that's to 10, and then just a couple of little phrases that we planted the seeds in our lessons back in England, and then when you're out here you get to use them a little bit, so yeah, it's something to do.
Which of your teammates do you think is going to be the most adventurous with Japanese cuisine?
We all like sushi, pretty much. We had some Wagyu beef at welcoming barbecue. We've never eaten anything like it. We were all blown away by that. And other than that, we've got our chef here, so when we're in the hotel, we're sort of trying to stick to what we would normally eat, like almost sports nutrition kind of thing. But like, if we get the opportunity to try like a bit of sushi or a bit of Wagyu or something a little bit more Japanese, we'll give it a go.
Who is the handiest with chopsticks then?
I haven't seen, but I'm useless at them. But we learn not to stick them in your rice because that's bad etiquette.
Well, listen, Johnny, it's lovely to have a little chat with you. Enjoy your next few days in Japan, and arigato.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Tom Fordyce with Johnny May. Every game of the Rugby Union World Cup on 5 Live or 5 Live Sports Extra. And Chris Jones will bring you at least 2 episodes per week of Rugby Union Weekly podcast during the tournament. So subscribe now. Into the last 20 minutes of the Women's Super League game time between Manchester United and Arsenal. Joe Curry is still waiting for the first goal.
I am still goalless, and if you didn't know any better, it's hard to tell which these sides are the defending champions and which side has been promoted into this league. But both teams should have scored in the last few minutes. First, United striker Jane Ross ran in on goal, got the shot away, but Arsenal keeper Manuela Zinsberger, who came rushing out early on, smothered a shot. Then almost immediately at the other end, United keeper Mary Epps kept her side in the match when she pulled off a brilliant double save from Kim Little, who got her shots away from inside the box. Very evenly matched, this one, chappers. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 0.
Other sports news this evening. Somerset are in a strong position in their bid to win their first ever county championship title. They bowled out Hampshire for 196. At one stage, Hampshire had been 24 for 5. Somerset then replied with 30 for 2 on the opening day at the Aegeus Bowl. Lancashire have claimed the second division title. They had already won promotion. Mark Cavendish says he's still interested in riding at the Tokyo Olympics as he prepares to return to the track in London next month. Huge blow for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their quarterback Ben Roethlisberger has been ruled out for the rest of the season with an elbow injury sustained against the Seattle Seahawks last night. In our football, Liverpool's Andy Robertson will be assessed ahead of their Champions League group opener against Napoli tomorrow. Divock Origi out with an ankle injury. Meanwhile, David De Gea has signed a new contract with Manchester United until 2023. They got there in the end, Lee Hendry.
Yes, well, certainly did. And to be fair, I mean, listen, he's one of the world-class goalkeeper, isn't he? I think he went for a little phase where people were questioning, but when you're world-class and the expectation of being world-class, you're always going to be, if things aren't going your way and you're not performing to the high expectations you do, then, you are going to be questions. But, I mean, that's fantastic to keep hold of him. It really is. And, he's, like I said, he's one of the world-class goalkeepers around.
Are you surprised he stayed, Chris Sutton?
Am I surprised he stayed? A little bit, because if he wanted to challenge for titles, then maybe he should have gone elsewhere, really. But I think it's a big deal that Manchester United have tied him down. Big for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because had he left and shown his intention to leave, you'd think, well, how many top players do United actually have? So no, well done, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, really.
Let's head back to the game then. The TV cameras focusing on El Ghazi and Tyrone Mings an awful lot at the start of this second half. You wouldn't be surprised if an El Ghazi cross is headed in by Mings for a goal at some stage, such is the way football works, Arlo.
It's all set up for exactly that, Mark, isn't it, in this second half? Aston Villa will get us back underway. Jack Grealish in the centre circle. And away we go. Mike Dean blows his whistle. Well, I'm sure they've kissed and made up in the half-time break, or Dean Smith would have got them together and said, look, cut it out, because you can't have that, can you, Chris? That situation. No. You can. There was the situation with Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer all those years ago for Newcastle, when they ended that game with 8 men, I think, from memory. You can be sent off for violent conduct if you have a pop at one of your own players. Here's Hosser on the right-hand side, on his left foot. And they start to stand in the Holt end. The promise of this attack. That's a lovely cross by Grealish, and in the end, though, it sails harmlessly wide. Fabianski was going to punch it and realised it was going behind and left it.
Yeah, well, I played in a game for Blackburn, Spartak Moscow, where Graham Rousseau and David Batty. Now, that was a proper scrap. That wasn't a Mickey Mouse one like we're seeing tonight, gesturing. It was
Graham punching David, wasn't it, as well?
Well, I think David slipped his own couple in as well.
Most un-Lasso-like. Or was it? I don't know. I didn't see him in training every day. Here's Sebastian Haller, who rolls it to Felipe Anderson, corner of the penalty area, left-hand side for West Ham. The attempted pass into the penalty area is blocked by Gilbert, and it's out for a throw-in, taken quickly, and Declan Rice, he finds his centre-back, Angelo Ogbonna, who gets it back from Rice. A rather sedate start to the second half here on 5 Live Sport. 0-0 between Aston Villa and West Ham. Of course, 5 Live will have commentary of the Champions League that resumes tomorrow. Napoli against Liverpool, kick-off 8 p.m. And the action continues on Wednesday as Aston Villa give the ball away towards the penalty area. Wednesday commentary of Olympiacos against Spurs at 5:55, and then Shakhtar Donetsk against Manchester City at 8. And tonight, Mark will be chatting to Michael Vaughan and Jim Maxwell from 10 o'clock, talking about a sensational summer of cricket, international cricket, that ended, of course, at the Oval. And there's an awkward fall here. Or
Anderson,
Felipe Anderson clutching his back, isn't he?
In the back from Gilbert.
Just hobbling on that left leg slightly. Felipe Anderson appears to be okay to continue. Jack Wilshere is warming up in some turquoise boots right in front of us with his orange bib on. Taylor's got to get the challenge in here against Mark Noble halfway inside the Aston Villa half, and he's fouled Mark Noble. Free kick, centre of the pitch, almost halfway inside that Villa half of play.
He didn't deal very well with the crossfield ball in the first half, Taylor, and he makes a real hash of the header. Noble nicks in front of him. And that's a chance for West Ham, but a long way out, central, 40 yards out. Well, centre-backs have gone forward.
If it's inevitable that El Ghazi will cross for Mings for a goal, it's inevitable that Neil Taylor won't score. None in 293 career club appearances. The reverse commentator curse, perhaps, will work in his favour. Felipe Anderson and Yarmolenko are over the free kick. There's a defensive line on the edge of the penalty area. It's chipped in towards Sebastian Haller. It's Tyrone Mings who gets the header clear, only as far as Masuaku, who sprints away from Hotter, and he can't get past Gilbert, can he? It's just at the byline now. Gilbert with an excellent block tackle. Read the situation very well, the French full-back. And then McGinn, oh dear, now McGinn is down and he's slapping the turf. He went in for a heavy challenge with, I think, Sebastian Haller, and he looks in tremendous pain. His face is in the turf, he's writhing, and he's just clutching his, just below his right knee, is he? And now he's just back on all fours on his haunches. And maybe this isn't as bad as Villa fans were first fearing, because it looked like he was in great distress when he first went down.
Yeah, he wasn't given a good ball. He actually lunges McGinn into the challenge, which comes from Ogbonna, and Ogbonna stands on him in the follow-through. I think it's accidental. I don't think Ogbonna knew what he was doing there. It's a nasty one. Good to see McGinn back on his feet.
Yeah. The way he reacted initially, it suggested something more serious, and I'm not suggesting that having Angelo Ogbonna land on you feet first is a pleasant experience, but McGinn appears to be okay. They'll have been checking that on VAR, of course, at the Premier League Match Centre. No need to take any further action. You've got to put your feet somewhere when you land, Chris, haven't you? Throw into West Ham United on their left-hand side, 5 yards from the edge of the Aston Villa, maybe more like 10 yards from the edge of the Aston Villa penalty area. Masuaku trying to find Mark Noble. It's headed clear by Gilbert. Falls to Lanzini. He hooks it over the top of the French fullback towards Felipe Anderson. And Gilbert, in the end, tried to clear that. Slices it out of play. West Ham throw 3 or 4 yards from the corner flag. Manuel Pellegrini on the West Ham bench has just got his hands clasped around his left knee as he rocks back on his 66th birthday. Here's Manuel Lanzini. 51st minute of the game, 0-0 at Villa Park. Masuaku towards the byline, cuts it back towards Lanzini in the penalty area. The challenge by Gilbert again. Jack Grealish is going to try and dribble the ball out of his own penalty area. Then the header back by Neil Taylor brings a smart save out of Tom Heaton, diving away to his left-hand side.
Well, Grealish takes a ridiculous risk here. His own 6-yard line, blindly turns into Noble, who makes the challenge. The ball pops up and Taylor.
Here's El Ghazi trying to work space for a shot with his right foot 5 yards outside the penalty area, and then he's outnumbered really. And when that ball ricocheted towards Neil Taylor, he took the sting out of it with the header, didn't he? But Heaton decided to dive nonetheless to his left-hand side.
It was good that Heaton was alert from Villa's point of view.
Felipe Anderson with a thigh control against Gilbert on the West Ham left inside his own half. Back it goes to Ogbonna, who's under pressure by Hotter. He releases the ball down the left-hand side, but it's over the head of Lanzini. And Bjorn Engels can roll the ball to his fellow centre-back Tyrone Mings. Halfway inside his own half. up to the halfway line. He finds the feet of Jack Grealish, in turn finds McGinn. Out wide right it goes to Hotter. Grealish on the overlap. Grealish gets it inside the penalty area in the right hand side, drills it across, and it brings a save out of Fabianski. Not sure if that was a cross or a shot. McGinn with the shot, it wasn't far wide. He was scampering and diving to his left hand side there, Lucas Fabianski.
Yeah, it's really good from Villa down the right hand side. Grealish involved once again, pulls the ball back. It's actually the goalkeeper who fists it out, and McGinn on his favoured left foot, 25 yards out on the swivel. He's not far away, that's inches past Fabianski's left hand post. Oh, nearly caught the keeper out.
Not far from clipping the base of the post, was it? I think Fabianski perhaps had it covered. And McGinn, who stung Fabianski's palms in the first half with a super left foot effort. Haller has left Bjorn Engels in a heap on the floor. It's a free kick to Aston Villa after an aerial duel between the two, and Engels is just clutching his face. I don't think there was anything untoward by Haller, just a very physical challenge between the two of them. Little shake of the head from Engels, no complaints from him. Just an errant left elbow, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think he's thrown it. As a centre forward, you're entitled to use your arms and fend and hold for your space.
There's been a good acquisition, Bjorn Engels, alongside Tyrone Mings at the heart of that Villa defence. 54th minute, and we still await the breakthrough here at Villa Park, which is packed to the rafters as Aston Villa return after 3 seasons in the Championship. It's McGinn against Masuaku. Lovely turn by McGinn into the penalty area, right by the byline. And now he's back facing the touchline again and finds Hotter, who has 2 hammers for company, one of which is Felipe Anderson, the other Lanzini. Anderson is dispossessed. Here's Gilbert, and actually Anderson is fouled, and Dean Smith is disgusted with the decision. He's got his head in his hands.
But what's interesting is the linesman, I think Darren Cann, who's 10 yards away, he doesn't flag. Mike Dean is probably 30-40 yards away, calls that decision. I think West Ham are fortunate.
So Lucas Fabianski will take the free kick, 10 yards inside from the left touchline for West Ham United. All the players, you could throw a blanket over them around the halfway line. Into the Villa half it goes. Mings with an excellent leap against Haller, but then he picks up the loose ball, flicks it to Mark Noble. The flag will go up here against Andrei Yarmolenko, who was just running diagonally from an offside position. The Ukrainian.
Good line from Villa. They've been very organised at the back so far.
Here's marvellous Nakamba to John McGinn, whose influence is growing on the game. Hotter on the right-hand side. Again, they're all on their feet in the Holt end. Hotter, left-footed, walks into Declan Rice with an excellent challenge, and the groans come from the Holt end as that attack breaks down. But then McGinn, industrious, bustling midfielder, wins the ball back for Aston Villa. Square ball to Jack Grealish. He scythes down the centre of the pitch towards the edge of the penalty area, flicks it out to the left-hand side to Taylor. Grealish went down under the challenge on the edge of the penalty area, now back on his feet, and he takes possession back from Neil Taylor on the left-hand side for Aston Villa. Square ball to McGinn. He allowed the ball to run through, but it's gone straight to Lanzini, and now West Ham can attack down their left-hand side. A bit of space here for Felipe Anderson, running at Gilbert, the French fullback. Anderson trying the angle ball into the penalty area towards Haller. It's repelled by Aston Villa, but it falls to the feet of Declan Rice. Rice again. Here's Masuaku on the left-hand side, closed down by Hotter. Felipe Anderson cuts in from that left flank, plays the ball into Masuaku. Left-hand side of the penalty area, the cut back, Nakamba gets it, but then Haller takes over, rolls it back for Declan Rice. It was a super effort, and Jack Grealish flings himself full length in front of Declan Rice, and the two have a high five. Rice and Grealish, 2 young English midfielders with Irish connections, and Grealish, that was a terrific shot, Chris, wasn't it?
He's absolutely hammered that. And Grealish, I don't think we'd have seen him do that sort of 3 or 4 years ago. Brave as a lion.
Throw in just inside the Villa half, left-hand side for Masuaku. Gets it back and then sends it back to Angelo Ogbonna. Looked like an awkward bit of control by Engels. Claims of handball from the away end, the West Ham United fans. Not given. Rice concedes the throw right on the halfway line for Gilbert to take on Aston Villa's right-hand side. We are just about 12 minutes into the second half at Villa Park here on 5 Live Sport. 0-0 between Villa and West Ham United. And don't forget, the Rugby World Cup gets underway very soon. You'll hear every game on 5 Live. Oh, and there's a shot by Anwar El Ghazi, right-footed, half-volley, decent attempt, and it was saved to his right-hand side by Fabianski.
Lovely spot from McGinn as Grealish wins the ball back.
El Ghazi again, Grealish in pursuit, but he won't get there ahead of Issa Diop, who sends a hurried clearance into the lower tier of the Doug Ellis stand, and once again, to a man, woman and child, the roar goes up around Villa Park in encouragement of their side, and they've been far from outclassed here by the perennial Premier League side West Ham United here. Gilbert, but he's dispossessed by Felipe Anderson, who's sprinting into the Aston Villa half on the left-hand side. Sebastian Aller ahead of him in the penalty area. Anderson towards the side of the penalty area. Gilbert's done excellently to get back, and he wins the ball back off the Brazilian. That is tremendous commitment to defence by Frederic Gilbert, who made the mistake initially and then hunted down his prey and won the ball back for Aston Villa.
Brilliant defending. Fantastic desire to get back and make the challenge. He bullied Anderson off the ball, but they're slugging it out now.
It's a very physical game, isn't it? We'll hear about a goal in the Women's Super League very shortly. Let's see what happens with this attack here, and West Ham United with Lanzini, who finds Aller. Back it goes to Mark Noble. There's no pressing on the ball by Aston Villa at the moment. That gets a groan from the Villa Park faithful. Felipe Anderson on the left-hand side. He skips past Gilbert this time. He stands the ball up towards the back post. It's going to sail over Andrei Yarmolenko's head. Towards the touchline he goes. He turns back towards goal. Rolls it back to Mark Noble, in turn to Declan Rice. Rice for West Ham United, and Noble again. A side-footed ball out to Yarmolenko. Ryan Fredericks has joined the attack on the right-hand side. Here's Manuel Lanzini on the halfway line now, back to Angelo Ogbonna. Arthur Masuaku. Ogbonna again. Now Issa Diop, the 22-year-old who was captain of Toulouse in France at the age of 20. Issa Diop. Noble. Lanzini. There's space on the left-hand side for Masuaku if he can find him. He goes down the centre to Noble. Lanzini again, this looks dangerous. Here is Masuaku, the ball breaks to him, left side of the penalty area, towards the byline he goes, and it's marvellous Nakamba with the challenge, and the last touch came off Masuaku, and it's a goal kick. So it's Manchester United against Arsenal in the Women's Super League, and there has been a goal, Joe Curry.
Arsenal look like they've won it at the death. The goal-mouth scramble finished off by second-half substitute Danielle van der Donk smashing it into the back of the net. It had been coming, but it looks like it's heartbreak once again for Manchester United. 4 minutes of extra time here. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1.
Thank you, Joe. 0-0 here at Villa Park as we approach the hour mark on Monday night. Here on 5 Live Sport, Arlo White and Chris Sutton with you. Aston Villa against West Ham United, clipped forward by Gilbert, looking for the run, the advance run of John McGinn. The ball was going to slow up just before the byline, so Ogbonna had to deal with it, and left-footed he gets it clear towards the halfway line. Marvellous Nakamba concedes the throw-in with the header, and it looks like we may have a change fairly soon for West Ham United. There's activity on the bench. Arthur Masuaku to take the throw-in. He's got his hands on his hips at the moment, ball in hand as well. 15 yards from the halfway line on the West Ham left. He throws it in field to Lanzini. Lanzini with the volleyed pass back to him, and will try again the ricochet of Hotta. So Manuel Pellegrini with some last-minute instructions. It looks like it might be Pablo Fornals who's coming in. Indeed it is, for Andrei Yarmolenko. So Fornals, the young Portuguese, the summer signing, will come in for the Ukrainian Andrei Yarmolenko, who's still trying to find his feet, Chris, isn't he? Having come back from that ruptured Achilles.
Yeah, trying to work his way back to fitness. Hasn't really got involved enough tonight, but a chance for Pablo Fornals, former Villarreal player, to come on and make an impression.
£24 million he cost from Villarreal. He started the game against Brighton. He's been on as a substitute in the other 4 now. Sébastien Haller, who's been well marshalled, the big French centre-forward tonight, but there's still plenty of time for him to do some damage. Mark Noble down the left-hand side, facing his own goal, but level with the side of the penalty area. Lovely turn to get away from McGinn, then he tried to slide it into the path of Manuel Lanzini. It was read well by Hotter, who in turn finds Fredericks, excuse me, it's Gilbert. Gilbert's crossfield ball to Neil Taylor. Back to goal in his own half is Anwar El Ghazi. Taylor plays it down the line, and scampering away is Wesley. I feel like it's a good half an hour since I said Wesley's name. Infield again to Taylor. Square ball across the midfield to McGinn. He rolls it out to the left-hand side again to Wesley. Into the penalty area he goes against Diop. Diop makes the block on the cross, the attempted cross by Wesley, then hooks the ball clear. Allo wins a header on the halfway line, sprinting towards that Aston Villa goal, but it's tidied up, swept up very calmly by Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, they've been good duo at the back for Villa. They've looked very secure this evening.
And Mings in possession now, and West Ham happy to allow him to have the ball, and he plays it into the midfield area to Marvellous Nakamba. Back with Mings again. 1 or 2 groans around Villa Park as they want to see their side more direct, to have a real go at this West Ham United outfit in the second half. Gilbert on the touchline sends the ball out of play.
That wasn't a good ball. I think they need to be patient, Villa, in this game. They're looking to make a substitution. El Mohammadi stripped and ready to come on.
West Ham have a throw, almost right on halfway on their left-hand side, to be taken by Arthur Masuaku. And the first strains of blowing bubbles from the West Ham travelling support. That's untidy by Mark Noble. His attempted ball out to the West Ham right is intercepted here by El Ghazi, but then it was Fornals who got back and took possession back for the Hammers, and he finds Felipe Anderson on this left-hand side, just inside his own half. Felipe Anderson infield, he goes to Declan Rice. He spins around in the centre of the field and plays it out to his right back, who's Fredericks.
He's been good tonight so far. Declan Rice mopped everything up in front of that West Ham back 4.
Ahmed El Mohammadi is ready to come into the game at the next stoppage. Meanwhile, the ball played through back to his goalkeeper Fabianski by Fornals. His clearance towards the left-hand side is headed infield by Masuaku, finds his teammate Lanzini. Spinning away is Sébastien Haller. Tried the back flick towards Mark Noble, and in the end ended up keeping possession. He lofts a chip out to the chest of Felipe Anderson on the left-hand side. Gilbert is the defender. The cross goes in, it goes past everybody. It was behind Sébastien Haller and in front of Fornals, and in the end it trickles harmlessly wide for a goal kick.
Yeah, Anderson out on that left-hand side, whips the ball in on his right foot. It's a good refusal from Neil Taylor at left back. Let the ball run out behind him.
So Hotter makes way for El Mohammadi. And the Egyptian captain is onto the field. He started the first 2 games of the season, and now on as a sub in the last 3, playing for his 3rd club in the Premier League, previously with Sunderland and Hull. And El Mohammadi is on the left-hand side of midfield for Aston Villa. The right-hand side of midfield, I should say, in a straight swap for Hotter. Here's Felipe Anderson again on the West Ham left. Strokes a ball infield to Declan Rice, right on the halfway line, put under some pressure by John McGinn. Ogbonna finds Anderson tight to the touchline again. There's a little bit of space here for Masuaku, who plays it between the lines inside left to Mark Noble. Nice footwork to get away from Nakamba, who then gets back with the challenge very well, and he's fouled in the process, and it's a free kick to Aston Villa on the edge of their own penalty area.
Marvellous from Marvellous, getting back and making the challenge.
Frankly, I'm very surprised it took over an hour for one of us to say that. El Mohammadi fouled by Masuaku.
Well, he's in trouble.
Oh, it's a red card!
Well,
Masuaku is 2nd yellow from Mike Dean, and he's given his marching orders, and West Ham United are down to 10 men.
reckless, brainless. Masuaku protesting. What you're protesting about? Get off as a stupid challenge. He dived in, and we know Mike Dean likes to get the red out. I think Masuaku, it's a challenge he doesn't need to make. It's in the Aston Villa half. He lunges in, the ball's popped out to El Mohammadi.
Oh, he might have a case here, you know, Chris.
Yeah, but he does catch him. There is contact, enough for El Mohammadi to go down. I think he does milk it a little bit, but there is contact. It's a daft challenge.
Well, the complexion of the game has changed. Masuaku away to our left-hand side, just disappears into the tunnel that's been brought out for him, and Manuel Pellegrini is going to have to make a switch. Somebody will be sacrificed because Pablo Zabaleta is going to come into the game for West Ham, who are down to 10 men in the 68th minute here. It's been a scrappy, bitty second half so far, both sides struggling for fluency, but you have to say now, Aston Villa are in the box seat. El Mohammadi, there's the cross towards the back post. It's easy for Lucas Fabianski, who gathers cleanly first time. He's just stretching out those quads. The veteran Argentine Pablo Zabaleta, of course, played for Manuel Pellegrini at Manchester City. Full time in the Women's Super League. You're hearing from Joe Curry. A late goal means it's Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Here come West Ham's 10 men, and it's Fornells who finds Lanzini. Square ball to Rice. In turn he goes to the left touchline of Felipe Anderson. Nice footwork, he wins the throw-in, level with the edge of the penalty area. A ricochet off Gilbert, and here is the change, the second switch for West Ham United, and poor old Felipe Anderson is going to be sacrificed here through no fault of his own, as Manuel Pellegrini searches for more defensive solidity down to 10 men.
Yeah, El Mohammadi wanting Anderson to get off the pitch quicker.
By rights, you should trot off exactly where you are on the field. He was running towards the halfway line. Another of the new directives from IFAB, who had a very busy summer, didn't they?
It certainly did.
Zabaleta on.
You think, what an opportunity now for Aston Villa. West Ham down to 10 men. And, you know, the West Ham players and the manager may be happy or unhappy about that second yellow, but he gave Mike Dean a decision to make, and Mike Dean likes making decisions.
Now, because it wasn't a straight red, because it was a yellow card, VAR couldn't get involved, could they, to spot a clear and obvious error that may have been made by Mike Dean, who I suspect felt there was more contact than that actually was.
It's one where, you know, you could say it was soft, but, you know, there certainly was contact. It was an infringement.
West Ham have a free kick on the left touchline. It's swung over by Lanzini. Diop went to ground, trying to get a header on goal. It was cleared by Gilbert, and then stroked all the way downfield by El Ghazi, all the way through to the opposite penalty area, and Lucas Fabianski, who picks the ball up, rolls it out to his right-hand side. Ryan Fredericks can bring it clear, and actually, since going down to 10 men, West Ham have seen a lot of the ball, and Aston Villa just struggling to impose themselves on the Hammers at the moment with this one-man advantage.
I think that Villa, it's how brave are you going to be?
Lanzini again has got all sorts of room to move into here. He's got a motoring Pablo Zabaleta down the left-hand side. He stands up the cross over the head of Allaire. Fornells is trying to retrieve it. Nakamba gets there first. He'll turn round to face his own goal and play it back to his left back, Neil Taylor, into the penalty area to Mings. Taylor again by his own corner flag. Drifts a ball down the left-hand side that's intercepted by Declan Rice. Tight to the right touchline. Here's Ryan Fredericks sprinting towards the corner of the penalty area. It's an excellent challenge. I've got the ball, says Anwar El Ghazi, and Mike Dean agreed, and Aston Villa have possession in their left-back position through Neil Taylor. Corner of their own penalty area, Tyrone Mings. No nonsense this time, sends it long. It's over the head of Declan Rice and El Ghazi, and back to his goalkeeper by Angelo Ogbonna, who gets it back from Lucas Fabianski. No nonsense from him as well. He sends it long, straight to the chest of Engels.
Say a good little spell that for West Ham, and they've gone down to 10 men.
A roar from the Holt end inside the final 19 minutes here at Villa Park. 5 Live Sport, Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0. Who can get the breakthrough here? If West Ham United can somehow fashion a victory, they'll be 3rd. Villa could go as high as 13th and out of the bottom 3 if they can snatch all 3 points late on in this early stage of the season. Engels for Villa. Here's Gilbert, gets the return from El Mohammadi. Super sliding challenge by Manuel Lanzini to win the ball back. He finds his fellow Argentine Zabaleta. He's dispossessed by McGinn. Right-hand side, there's the cross towards the back post, and it falls here to Jack Grealish. He couldn't bring the ball under control.
Really important header, brilliant header from Fredericks, because Grealish was in and he not made contact.
Mark Noble played the ball down the right-hand side, and Tyrone Mings now facing his own goal. Plays it back to Tom Heaton, who puts his right foot through that. El Mohammadi challenging Declan Rice on the halfway line. Rice cushions it down for his captain and inspiration, Mark Noble. To the right-hand side it goes. West Ham United looking decent in possession. Ryan Fredericks towards the byline. The cutback. Allaire turns, left-footed shot. Excellent block by Tyrone Mings, and it had to be. It was brilliant control by Allaire to keep his balance. Could easily have gone down and maybe given Mike Dean a decision to make. He didn't. He got the shot away, and Tyrone Mings, not the first time we've seen Aston Villa players throwing themselves in front of West Ham players who are shooting. A cross comes into the West Ham penalty area. It's Paul, though, and trickles behind harmlessly for a goal kick.
And you can hear the crowd getting frustrated with their team. But the man advantage, but that was a crucial block. How crucial could that be from Tyrone Mings? Allaire turned on the penalty spot and hammered the shot, and Mings was there.
And Wesley Felsky was being impeded by Angelo Ogbonna as that last cross came in.
One half a dozen of the other.
Both got hold of each other, haven't they, right by the penalty spot. Good centre-half play by Ogbonna. Likewise here by Tyrone Mings, who steps into that centre circle area and chests the goal kick down to a teammate. Now it's El Mohammadi on the right-hand side. Showing inside is Nakamba. Nakamba was trying to find John McGinn on the right corner of the penalty area. Didn't find him. Tries to win possession back, and eventually it's El Mohammadi who just nips it off the toes of Manuel Lanzini.
But West Ham seem to have found another gear since going down to 10 men. Begs the question, why didn't they play like this with 11?
Jack Grealish in pursuit down the Villa left, but that ball from El Ghazi trickles out of play. West Ham have a throw level with the edge of their own penalty area in their right back position. Approaching the final 15 minutes then. Goalless at Villa Park. Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0 on 5 Live Sport. Michael Vaughan and Jim Maxwell will join Mark Chapman after 10 o'clock to talk about a sensational summer of international cricket. Stay tuned for that. The podcast is already available on BBC Sounds. Tuppers and Vaughan. West Ham gain about 5 yards down the right touchline. It's a very pensive looking Dean Smith, hands in pockets in the Villa technical area. The Brains Trust is out there. The coaching staff all huddled in the technical area, including John Terry, just working out their next move here.
That's one way. You come off the pitch and think, well, we've had half an hour. It's a numerical advantage to win this game. So they don't do it.
Fornals, that's a super ball inside the fullback towards Zabaleta, but Gilbert does excellently to get back with the sliding challenge. Zabaleta is disgusted as Mike Dean points to the 6-yard box. It's a goal kick, and then Zabaleta throws the ball away in slight disgust and maybe a little fortunate to get away with a yellow card.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. Don't know how Mike Dean made that call.
34 years of age now, Pablo Zabaleta. There was talk towards the end of last season that he'll go off to the Middle East to round off his career, but still a hammer and still sprinting up and down the touchline as he always has done. Here's Gilbert, right-hand side for Aston Villa, who've lacked a bit of fluency since West Ham went down to 10 men. Jack Grealish, just outside the penalty area, finds Neil Taylor. Down the left-hand side he goes to El Ghazi. El Ghazi back to Grealish, left corner of the penalty area. He chips it up looking for John McGinn, who'll do very well to keep that ball in play. It's just too straight.
Hasn't clicked. West Ham 2, Banks of 4. There's Allaire up front. He seemed to have really good discipline, and Villa are getting frustrated. They're not making passes.
John Terry out on the edge of the technical area having a word with somebody. Was it John McGinn that he was gesticulating towards?
He's saying just be patient, make passes, don't try and force it.
Villa Park is a spectacular sight under the floodlights. The 4 stands all packed to the rafters.
Another card.
It's going to be another yellow card here, is it? Mike Dean has blown for the free kick to West Ham United inside the Villa half. Allaire was jumping with Tyrone Mings, who had his left arm across the chin and the neck of Sebastian Allaire. Did he show the card in the end, Chris?
Yep. Yeah, the card to Mings. He'd be a good cricket umpire, Mike Dean.
Why is that then?
Brilliant, wouldn't it, giving you out?
Trigger finger. Noble takes the free kick brilliantly towards the left-hand corner of the penalty area to Declan Rice. Now it's Zabaleta who chips it to Allaire. The first time shot came in from Fornells. It was blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. It falls to Declan Rice. He's dispossessed by Wesley. Away goes El Mohammadi down the right-hand side for Aston Villa. Instead of playing the ball forward to 3 or 4 advancing teammates, they put it back towards Gilbert, who then sends it out of play directly on the Villa left-hand side, and he looks frustrated. And they just missed out an opportunity of a potential counter-attack there, Aston Villa.
Yes, they did. But they look bemused, really. They don't know how to play against the 10 men of West Ham.
Dean Smith said this week, "We will survive, I have no doubts about it." You could look at this as a point gain, perhaps, against a side that could be pushing for the top 6. But with the numerical advantage, you'd have to expect that Aston Villa would be disappointed not to grab all 3 points. What an opportunity they have here to win consecutive home games in the Premier League, having dispatched Everton 2-0 last time out.
But West Ham have looked a bigger threat.
Nakamba on the halfway line for Aston Villa. Legs pumping away, and he just prods or toe pokes a ball with his left foot out towards Gilbert. It's gone directly out of play, and frustration is growing audibly at Villa Park.
I think they're panicking. They really do. They didn't panic against 11 men, but they're trying to rush things and force things when it's not on.
Villa about to make another switch. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Declan Rice for West Ham United. What a lovely ball that is. Out to the right-hand side, and Fornells the substitute, who has Ryan Fredericks up alongside him on the overlap. Fornells is going to go it alone, and that's a horrible effort. Actually, in fairness to him, it took a deflection, I think, off Neil Taylor, and has gone away for a corner kick. Now, both Taylor and Nakamba are arguing here that it didn't touch them. The corner has been given. This might be a bonus here for... I just missed the replay there, Chris, on the monitor. He's got a little wry smile on his face, Forlan, and he knows that it didn't touch any of those Aston Villa defenders. And this is a bonus corner here, I feel. Manuel Lanzini across to take it. Well, this would be controversial, perhaps, if West Ham were to score from it. Lanzini in front of the West Ham fans beneath the Doug Ellis stand, and it's crossed towards Ogbonna. It's El Mohammadi who wins the header. Jack Grealish takes possession inside his own penalty area, rolls it back to Taylor. There's no harm done. Taylor's clearance ricochets off Declan Rice, and it's a goal kick, and another roar from the Villa Park crowd to encourage their side.
Declan Rice just giving a little fist pump to the West Ham fans in the corner.
Huge applause for marvellous Nakamba, who makes way for Douglas Luiz, who dropped to the bench, having started previous games for Aston Villa. The young Brazilian, 21 years of age, 15 million he cost from Manchester City. Scored a terrific goal here at the Holt End after going 2-0 down to Bournemouth in the early stages. 2-1 the final score, a defeat for Aston Villa that day, but a memorable moment for Douglas Luiz, who's on into the centre of midfield for Aston Villa. 9 minutes remaining, 5 Live Sport, Villa 0, 10-man, West Ham United 0. Engels tries the cross into the penalty area. It's blocked by Declan Rice, and Douglas Luiz gets his first touch to find his centre-back Tyrone Mings, who prods a ball out to the left-hand side, and Neil Taylor. Taylor finds El Ghazi. Is there a late chance in this for Aston Villa? Here's Jack Grealish. The roof would come off all four stands if they were to get a late winning goal here and secure a second victory of the season after their 3-year stint in the Championship. El Mohammadi with the cross. It's over the head of Wesley. It drops to the feet on the side of the penalty area here to El Ghazi. Across again, it's Diop who gets his head to it, and they just about get this cleared through Mark Noble, who's looking for Allaire, who turns away from Tyrone Mings. Now he's into the Aston Villa half. Engels is back, sprinting forward is Fornells on his left-hand side, and it's Luis with the challenge and the foul, 15 yards outside the Aston Villa penalty area. Free kick to West Ham United.
It was a poor error from Tyrone Mings. Villa had actually been patient and worked the ball out to the right-hand side well. When West Ham did clear the ball, Mings getting so tight, misses his clearance, and Alla gets away, and that's good centre-forward play. Gets his team up the pitch and wins the free kick.
Alla's been a handful. He's yet to really see a close sight of goal. He's on the edge of the penalty area. Aston Villa will defend right on the 18-yard line. Manuel Lanzini, hands on hips, poised, a couple of step run up. Two men are in the wall. Tom Heaton's a yard off his line. Lanzini clips it into the penalty area. Engels got his head to it, then it's hooked clear on the edge of his own area by Jack Grealish. Nobody forward for Aston Villa. It falls to Pablo Zabaleta, who was under no pressure at all. Left-hand side now for West Ham United. Declan Rice cuts inside of Gilbert. And here's Ogbonna on the edge of the penalty area. Thought about the shot, the centre-back, but he rolls it out to Fornells, right side of the area. The cross is blocked, or half-blocked, by Neil Taylor. The header clear towards Lanzini from Grealish. Lanzini thought about the shot, turns away. Fornells lofts a ball out to Mark Noble on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Oh dear, that's untidy by Gilbert. There's absolutely no need for it. He's given away the free kick, 2 yards in from the touchline, right by the corner flag. Mark Noble was going nowhere, and he was bundled over.
Yeah, really good from Noble. But West Ham have been fantastic with 10 men. Really have been. They're the team dictating the game, dominating the game now.
Well, a late chance perhaps here as we approach the final 6 minutes for 10-man West Ham United from this set piece. Curled in towards the near post, the heads go up, Tyrone Mings wins the header. It falls here to Lanzini. Lanzini, well, that's a little wild. The right-footed attempted shot, or was it a cross? Only he will know. He slices it behind for a goal kick. Another change to be made here by Aston Villa.
Substitution for Aston Villa.
Keenan Davis, the youngster, will come on for Frederick Gilbert. So it's an attacking move. Will they go to a back three here, Chris, do you think, for the closing stages? Or is it El Mohammadi who's gone back to right back?
Can play in that position. Just drop back one. Davis has gone up top to partner Wesley. Positive move.
21 years of age, Keenan Davis. His third substitute appearance of the season. He scored against Crewe in the EFL Cup. Number 39 on his back. Here's Jack Grealish. And he chips it up towards the right-hand side of the penalty area where John McGinn awaits. Back it goes to El Mohammadi. Thought about the first-time cross. He's got the angle for it. Well defended, though, by Mark Noble. Back it goes to John McGinn, running across field on the edge of the penalty area, but easily dispossessed, all too easily dispossessed by Declan Rice. Allaire through towards Pablo Fornells. It's Tyrone Mings who's back defending. Fornells across field. Here's Mark Noble into the penalty area. Right-hand side, tried the curler, but straight into the midriff of El Mohammadi. And it's very stretched out there now. Jack Grealish out to the Aston Villa left. El Ghazi's got some space here as he runs towards Diop. He shows too much of the ball to him. More groans emanate from the full stands around Villa Park. A wasted opportunity by Anwar El Ghazi, well defended by Issa Diop.
Yeah, he's been very, very good, Diop. Extremely athletic. Too good again there.
Mr. Aston Villa, Jack Grealish, turns away from Manuel Lanzini. Finds his centre-back on the edge of the centre circle, Engels. Engels side-footed to the right-hand side, and El Ghazi. Cross takes a deflection off Mark Noble. It was a low cross, and he went straight to the path of Pablo Zabaleta. And West Ham are going to try and work their way out from defence. It's all rather untidy from Ogbonna. He gives the ball away to Mings and then sprints back to his position at centre-back. Mings with the first-time ball towards El Ghazi, well defended by Ryan Fredericks, and Neil Taylor has a throw inside his own half on the left-hand side.
Once again, Mings trying to force that pass. He could have just played it easy. Need to be patient, Villa.
3.5 minutes ago at Villa Park. Jack Grealish towards the edge of the penalty area. It was the slide rule pass attempted towards Wesley. They slammed the door shut again, the Hammers. Long ball forward, but it's tidied up by Tyrone Mings on the edge of his own penalty area. He turns upfield and is roared on. Here's Douglas Luiz. No pressure on the ball from West Ham United. Closing stages at Villa Park. Here's Keenan Davis. Spins away from Declan Rice. What are his options on the left? He drops it back immediately to Luiz, who sprays it out to the right-hand side to El Mohammadi. Right corner of the penalty area. Back it goes to Luiz. The cross to the back post is a good one. Grealish was there. The flag stayed down and he made a hash from the volley. He's down on all fours, right on the edge of the 6-yard box. Just couldn't get a decent contact on it. It was a super cross as well.
Well, they work it well. They're patient as the ball comes out to Luiz. Grealish, I don't know whether he's offside. It's extremely close. Has to go with his head. Elects to volley the ball. There's a horrible finish. Left-footed, 6 yards out. Goes with his head, he scores.
I think he's onside, Chris. I think one or two of his teammates were off. But that has to go down as a terrific chance. The flag stayed down. Grealish with the opportunity, and he's just peering down at the ground now.
Why wouldn't you go with your head in that situation? He's a good footballer, Grealish. It's a difficult technique, that, however good you are, to try and volley that in.
2 minutes remaining. Aston Villa looking more threatening in the past few minutes. Grealish finds El Ghazi, and here's Wesley. Shaping to shoot, it's a low effort, he scuffs it straight to Lucas Fabianski, and on the right-hand side El Mohammadi is arguing with his teammate. He was in all sorts of space on the right-hand side of the penalty area.
Didn't look balanced when he took the shot on Wesley, left-hand side of the box, 25 yards out. Really scuffed the effort, but Villa just finally building a bit of momentum, but would it be too late?
Here's Douglas Luiz, who's looked very neat and tidy in possession since coming onto the field, and he's into West Ham territory. The ball to his left-hand side to Jack Grealish, socks at half-mast as usual. Luiz, well, he tried to thread it through the eye of the needle there towards El Mohammadi. It was intercepted by Zabaleta, who is sprinting away ahead of Manuel Lanzini, but Lanzini goes to the right-hand side to Allaire. Now it's with Fornals. Tyrone Mings is drawn out to the left-hand side. To the edge of the area it goes to Allaire, who miscontrols it, runs into Douglas Luiz, and then Jack Grealish is back defending well. Allaire looks absolutely exhausted, lying on his back on the edge of the Villa penalty area, and away goes Grealish again. To Keenan Davis, who's trying to turn away from Ogbonna. It was Diop who stepped forward brilliantly.
Just give McGinn the ball, he's the one in space.
Lanzini down the centre of the pitch now. A tired leg stuck out by El Mohammadi, the substitute. Back to the halfway line it goes to Zabaleta. We await the board from the fourth official to be held aloft any second now. Andy Madley has it in his right hand. We've got 15 seconds remaining of the 90 minutes. Up goes the board now. Oh, he's having a little fiddle with it, isn't he? Oh, he's keeping us in suspense. Here's Luiz into the West Ham half. Finds McGinn. Wesley makes a run towards the penalty area. The ball goes up. It's only 3 minutes. That'll be music to the ears of West Ham United fans.
3 minutes added time.
El Mohammadi finds McGinn. McGinn finds Grealish. Back to McGinn on the edge of the penalty area. To the left-hand side, he goes to Neil Taylor. There's the cross in. Ogbonna with the diving header, and he almost put it inside his own goal. In the end, it's about 3 yards wide, and it's a corner kick at the Holt end.
West Ham trying to slow it down and make a substitution. Balbuena, the centre-half, they want him on. That was an awful header from Ogbonna.
Fabian Balbuena, number 4, the Paraguayan, is ready to come in for West Ham United, who have some defending to do here. El Ghazi. Now, do you make the switch before the corner? They're going to, and he's sprinting towards the penalty area. They should take this corner as soon as they can, because Mark Noble's gone off behind the goal. Balbuena's got there into the heart of that West Ham defence. Here comes the corner kick, floated across. Engels, it's just over his head. Might drop. Is there a handball? They're appealing for it in the Holt end. Mike Dean waves play on. Jack Grealish trying to get a shot away. He finds McGinn. In the area it goes to Tyrone Mings trying to get his space for a left-footed shot, but he's dispossessed, and Fornals has it now for West Ham United just inside the Villa half of play. McGinn got back with a challenge, and it's rolled back to his goalkeeper, by Neil Taylor.
Yeah, that's McGinn all over, chasing back 60, 70 yards to win the ball back. Can they create one last chance, Villa?
We're in stoppage time at the end of the game here on 5 Live Sport. Villa 0, West Ham 0. Luis has been excellent since coming onto the field. Grealish, left corner of the penalty area. Can he produce some magic in those yellow boots? Twisting and turning one way to the next. Still in possession, edge of the area. Then he's given the ball away straight to Fornals, and West Ham can bring the ball clear through Ryan Fredericks. Has only Fornals ahead of him. Finds the young Portuguese, and then Fredericks has continued his run, sprinting towards the penalty area. The challenge from Tyrone Mings. All eyes on Mike Dean, who didn't have the best view of the situation, and he says no penalty. And Tyrone Mings may breathe a huge sigh of relief.
Oh, I'd like to see that again. Did look like Fredericks got the touch.
I'm not sure Mike Dean was quite as up with play as he could have been. Aston Villa in the attack now. The cross goes in, it's half cleared. The ball played back from the edge of the penalty area to Engels. Engels finds El Mohammadi, the low cross in, it's just ahead of Keenan Davis. Now Bonner got it half clear. Good defending by Angelo Ogbonna. Dean Smith now pointing nervously to the far side where Fornals could be in if Declan Rice can find him. Rice, Allaire, Fornals tried to square it back towards Allaire instead of taking a shot, and Tyrone Mings intercepted it.
It was on, it was just a really poor pass for Hira Villa.
And it's all over. It's like a game of basketball in the last few minutes, and players have collapsed to the ground, particularly those of West Ham who had 10 men for the closing stages. And the applause ring out at Villa Park. Aston Villa have got themselves a point there, 17th, level on 4 points with Newcastle in the bottom 3. West Ham United, well, they could have gone to 3rd with a victory here. They're 8th now, level on 8 points with 3rd place Spurs, so a terrific start to the season for them. And will they be the happier of the two sides here, Chris, having gone down to 10 men?
Do you know what? I don't know, because when West Ham did go down to 10 men, they really started to dominate the game. Villa looked like they'd run out of ideas. I think West Ham will feel aggrieved they didn't get the 3 points. Villa too little too late. They did build up ahead of steam the last 5 or 10 minutes. I think as West Ham will come away from this, feel aggrieved they didn't get the points, but Villa, it's a missed opportunity.
Well, it was no lack of effort, Mark. We've got tired players strewn all over the field. Jack Grealish has just been helped to his feet by Pablo Zabaleta, and it's honours even at Villa Park. Final score: Aston Villa 0, West Ham United 0.